Can you just talk about what Eden AI tries to solve that right now is needed in the industry?
Right, we build a tool for developers to very rapidly develop AI features or AI automations.
Same time, you are playing an unusual role, that is that of CTPO. Do you want to talk about that? What is your product development approach? Is it tech first, design later, or is it design first and then proper tech?
Started tech first, as the platform is an API, is a backend for our clients to create their own solutions and their own features. We had a lot of questions about model selection coming from our users. We don't build a roadmap to tell us what to do for the next 6 months. We build it as a communication tool.
You have taken up a really big responsibility here. You have to constantly communicate the confidence level in what you recommend, isn't it? How do you do that?
First, I think advice is to understand what your clients want. Don't do AI for AI's sake, but do it for your users' sake.
Today, I have with me Samy Melaine. He is co-founder of Eden AI, a product that helps developers launch AI-based tools rapidly. I might be off with my overview, but I'm sure Samy would correct me when he talks about it. Samy has had a very interesting journey. Samy, other than being our client, of course, is also has he started his journey as a software engineer, and then he moved to machine learning and data sciences. Before co-founding Eden AI, he also was CTO and data scientist at another company. So this is the brief introduction about Samy. I would let Samy do the talking now. Hi, Samy. Welcome.
Hi, Jatin. Thank you for the introduction. Yes, you are right. We build a tool for developers to very rapidly develop AI features or AI automations in their softwares. And yes, before creating Eden AI, I was a part of another company called Data Genius, where I was working as a data scientist. So creating AI models from scratch. That was the old way of doing it before GPT APIs. And yeah, so that's very briefly what I did before Eden AI.
Right. Do you want to talk about your journey, like the transition that took place from being an engineer to moving towards data sciences and then co-founding, and the role that you're playing today? You have taken quite a different divergence.
Yeah, explored a lot of things. I love exploring different things. So yeah, I started as a software developer, like everyone who does software science or computer science in the university. So I was doing some web development, but I got very interested in AI. So I did a master degree in AI, and I was building, as I said, AI models from scratch with Python and some open source tools. And I did that with different clients at Data Genius. So it was the first company I founded with my current associate. So we were actually a consultancy company, built Data Genius with Taha first. So we're exploring a little bit what was doable with AI with different clients. We had about 50 different clients. And then actually at some point we started seeing something called AI as a service appearing. So that was before OpenAI and the GPT hype. So basically, some companies, mainly the big ones like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, were creating APIs around the AI models that they were serving for developers to help them integrate AI rapidly into their software. We've seen the opportunity that it brought, and we believed in that, and we thought that indeed AI was going more and more from the hands of data scientists and AI scientists into the hands of developers. So we wanted to bet on that, and we created Eden AI, which is now regrouping the best AI models into one developer platform and allowing developers to orchestrate this model and creating end-to-end applications with them.
I'll talk about Eden AI slightly later. I still want to hang on to your journey and as an engineer, obviously you were working, and solving problems for different companies that you were part of. But what motivated you to start this journey of Eden AI? Like, what was the defining moment there?
Yeah, so I think it was mainly the fact that I wanted to work on a project of my own that I could take from zero to where. And I was a little bit frustrated with the companies I worked with because AI was still new and they didn't want to go through the experiment till the end. The budget didn't allow. Some of the decision makers were not believing a lot in AI, etc. So it was pretty limiting what we could do for the clients. So yeah, we wanted to actually go through an adventure, building our own product and removing all these uh, limitations and exploring something of our own.
Right. Also, if you can also help me understand your current role. Of course, you have co-founded a business, a company, a tech startup, but at the same time, you are playing an unusual role, that is that of CTPO. Do you want to talk about that?
Since we are started more into the T side than the P side, I was mainly handling the technical part, trying to make the app as robust as possible with all the right tech stack for that, etc. And since it's a developer tool, I was very interested and I was really in a good place to understand the product as I would be a persona that would be using Eden AI at some point. So I wanted to move more into the product side because I understood how important that was. The I understood also how important the alignment that should be between the technical side and the product side. And I really believe that if you want to build a strong product, uh, technical implementation and the product design should be in the same level uh, of importance. So we need to build something vast, but something that is robust, something that reply to the user's need while being technically feasible and stable. So yeah, I took these two roles to make sure that uh, they are advancing in a synergical way. I'd say.
Both, I think playing the role of a CTO or CPO itself is challenging, as we observed. But playing the both, which side of the role do you find more challenging? Is it the technical side or the product side?
Yeah, so actually both, I'd say, and I'm lucky to have a team that's backing me on that. So I'm not working on that alone. Uh, I have Jeremy with me, who's mainly focusing on the product, and all the developers on the technical side. And I don't believe that company, someone in the C level needs to make all the decision by their own. I prefer working with everyone and try to get the best idea that might come from a junior developer or from an intern as well as from a senior person. So I'm more doing some orchestration and management and trying to get the best out of the team than running the technical and the product on my own. So that's what makes it doable.
Right. But I'm just trying to, be a little devil's advocate here. And I have observed that, the roles of a product and tech are often at loggerheads. There is some sort of friction. But in this case, you are the person on both the side. How do you judiciously apply yourself?
Yeah, so that's a little bit why I wanted to we wanted to centralize the two parts in one. It's actually to try and reduce the friction as much as possible. To have one person understand the tech and the product and make the right decision by balancing both. It's sometimes a little complicated, and you try to find yourself a little schizophrenic somehow, trying to think at both things on different angles. But yeah, as I said, I try to rely on the inputs of the team and balance the good and the bad things of both sides with the team, and try to go ahead with that.
Now, I also want to talk a little about Eden AI. First of all, congratulations! You have recently raised another round of funding from, I think, multiple venture capital partners. And can you just talk about what Eden AI tries to solve that right now is needed in the industry?
What we believe in is that, as I said, AI is going from the hands of AI and machine learning scientists more into the hands of developers, and developers are now able to actually create all the AI features and AI automations they need in their software and their companies. Um, the challenge they might face is the vast and the extent of the AI market right now. A lot of tools are being created every day. You have tens of hundreds or sometimes thousands of startups creating different AI tools and different AI models to do different things. And we wanted to centralize everything into one place to give the developers the ability to understand the offering of these different companies that are coming up every day, and have one place to orchestrate everything. And That's what we want to do, to give the developers one tool instead of having them trying to see or keep track of everything that's being created in the AI market, and allow them to be autonomous on their AI journey.
So, if I have to paraphrase it, and without losing the complexity of the product that is, but just to paraphrase, what I understand is that this is a tool where different types of developers can use it, and they can use it to choose their own AI models for the specific use case, and then build their own workflow, and the test the output as well. And then if they are satisfied with the output, they can use the API finally and use it inside their own product that they are building.
Yeah, so we're tackling the entire stack of AI. So the model selection is one part, and then orchestrating the models and calling them in a series or workflow is the second part, and then including observability and monitoring to make sure the AI feature they build is working and is stable in production. So these are the three different layers that you can find on Eden AI. Yeah, you have the choice of provider. You are not locked into one provider for choosing your AI models, but also you can orchestrate them from end to end. And in production, you can track their performance and monitor their usage.
Understood. Understood. So, who are the, if you still were to granularly define the users, the target audience or the target user base, are they the advanced? I mean, do the developers have to be trained on AI and ML, or they can be a regular developers who are typical background of knowing Python or any other programming language, and they can just use it? Like, what varying degree of expertise is required or can use this product?
Yeah, so the project is meant to be API first. So anyone that is familiar with the concept of API can use it in AI. Whether you are very beginning in your developer journey or expert developer, and you don't need any AI expertise, that's for sure. And we also have some users that are using us in no-code tools like Make, Zapier, Bubble, things like that. So that's to show how easy the product is, and how easy it is to integrate it. So even if you're not into development, but you understand how to make call into an API, then you can use us in Zapier or Bubble or anything like that.
So overall, what kind of impact do you think this product is currently making or can eventually make? Given that there are so many diverse type of providers in the market already, right? There is layer one, layer two providers. There are wrappers. There are so many talks about agents. We are not even scratching the surface about the full AI scope, right? I mean, there are so many ways the AI can become useful. Has always been, but now it is more about generative AI. So, how do you see this product coming into shape and making an impact?
The product is already making an impact, I think, as we do have a quite number of users. We have something like few thousand users using us in production all around the world. The impact it has is the rapidity or the simplicity of integrating AI into the platform. So we developers that use it in AI are very feel, I think, powerful or powered, sorry, with the tool, because they come with one use case, they see how easy and fast it is to implement it, uh, and they just jump into another use case and another use case. So we have most of our clients use us in multiple use cases where they came for only one. So we see that the simplicity we try to bring them, encourage them to explore way more with AI in their products. So that's what motivates us, what makes us happy. See how it's encouraging for them to go forward with AI.
That's amazing to hear, actually. Since you talked about that you have already a couple of thousand or maybe more users actively using in production, like how is the growth model for this product of yours, this business of yours? Is it self-serving product led growth, or is it also sales led, or it is a mixture of both?
For the moment, we don't do much sales. It's mainly self-serve. We have our clients are mainly in the US and then India and then Europe. So it's pretty amazing to see how India moved ahead from Europe in the usage of AI, at least in our use cases. So yeah, we've observed that in the last year. So congratulations to Indian makers. Yeah, it's all around the world. People look for the best AI models for some task. They find Eden AI that's regrouping uh, actually all the AI models, so they understand they don't need to make a choice for their model or their provider. They can just have everything in one place.
As you are building this product, what is your product development approach? Is it tech first, design later, or is it design first and then proper tech, or is it a balanced approach? Like how did you start and where are you today?
Yeah, so we really started tech first, as the platform is an API, is a backend for our clients to create their own solutions and their own features. We really have to be stable. We don't allow any um, problems to happen in our platform. We can't be down for a second, or if we are down for a few seconds, then a lot of our clients are also down. So we really started focusing on that. But then we understood how complicated it might be for developers to understand some parts of AI. Since it's a new thing, we have to simplify it and find a very easy way to explain the value it can bring to users. So the um, the product design is something very important that helps the developers understand what each model and what each layer of the stack can bring to them. So we started focusing a lot on the product, and now we are finding a balance between the two. So maybe what happens is that Jeremy comes usually with the feedbacks from our users or myself with their problems. The developers start first thinking about how we can solve that problem. What's the best way to implement it? Because they know better the platform. Usually, the tech people know better know more about the platform than product people. That's something that a lot of people ignore. So we give them the first hand. They think about something that would solve the problem, and then they give it to Jeremy. He works with Shogi to design it a little better, and then he comes back to the developers, get their feedback, and they can move forward the implementation. So we start with the idea and the value we want to bring to the user. We go to the feasibility first with developers, and then we go to usability with the UX part. So that's a little bit how we go. So before we implement it.
There you made a couple of interesting points, actually. You said that, which is which is something which is not very usually heard, is that tech people are usually more aware about what's happening with the product. Are you also trying to say that they are more aware about what the users are demanding, or is it because the nature of your product is such where they also themselves see themselves as a user?
Yeah, so the nature of our project definitely helps. Since we're a dev tool, they are concerned by the product, so they understand it very well. And we do emphasize on the fact that developers have to do some support themselves, so they are interacting with the users. And yeah, since AI is actually technical first, the developers might understand some things or might come up with some ideas that maybe Jeremy didn't think about. So we really are into some like technology enabled innovation, something if I have to frame it somehow. So the technology is enabling some new things, so the tech people can come up with ideas with this new technology that the product didn't think about. So we always have to listen to tech people.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I also see the strong personality of the technician or technical person in you that is coming to the fore here. Uh, right. But then, of course, I think it's very typical. A lot of the clients that we work with, especially when they are in their 0 to 1 journey. Mostly, it is that they are technical founders and they just want to start building and see if the problem that they have in mind is being solvable or not, and also quickly collect the feedback, run it by some users, and then some more users, and then some more users. And often it is the UX is afterthought. Uh, right, but in this particular journey of yours, when did you realize that you also have to emphasize on the user experience?
We started giving it more importance when we well actually it was some developers on our team that were saying like, hey, we actually love robust product, but when we see beautiful products, it makes it better. Like we trust the company more, saying that they are into making everything perfect. So we understood that actually developers really love well-designed products, not because they are technical. You really, yeah, not all tech people like black screens and white text. So giving it more thought and more design makes the journey way more pleasant, and yeah, it makes the product more trustworthy to developers. So we started to give it way more attention.
Understood, understood. um, so so one part is where your developers realize that we like better aesthetics on the product, which is the UI function of good user interface. But generally, when you also talk about good user experience, it deals a lot with, especially since you are in the space where you are uh, allowing developers to use different AI products effortlessly. A lot of it is about how easy it is for them to build the workflow, or even before that, how easy it for them to compare what is the right model for me to select, and how do I orchestrate very easily, especially if I'm not coming from the background of AI or ML as a developer. So their usability for, in a way, like if you compare it, there are non-technical users for the products, and then in this case there are non-AI developers for an AI based tool, right? Dev tool. Then how do you take care of the usability aspects of that? Within that, there is also inbuilt uncertainty and unpredictability about the output that you get from different models. It's the nature of a lot of popular AI models, that they are kind of black boxes for most of us. So there is a layer of unpredictability, and how do you also address that?
Definitely, that's a very great question because, yeah, indeed, we did notice that um, developers were not used to comparing AI models, so they are not used into and they are not used to checking the mathematical evaluation metrics of different models. They don't talk that language that data scientists talk. In that point, we had a lot of questions about model selection coming from our users, and we understood that the best way to actually let them compare the models and understand which one to pick is to make it visual for them. So our live testing played a great role um, into in that. So our users are able to add like select any file in their computer and compare different models visually. So in once we did that, the user experience was way better. The user were way more easily able to compare different models and understand the goods and the bads of each one. Yeah, that was a big improvement on our side, and we are doing the same on the workflow. So when we orchestrate different models, we always give you visual input about the output at the end. So whether it's some transcription of an audio. If you want to compare to models that transcribe your audio, you can see the differences between the transcription very visually. Or if it's an image or video analysis task, we can actually go and to your video and see the different things that were detected, etc. So yeah, that was one very big step in our UX to go from mathematical evaluations to very visual evaluations of AI and AI use cases in general.
Great, that's great. Also, I think at Tcules we have few clients who are building AI first products. Like their product has AI as a core component, and other than that, we also, like you said, that a lot of people from India are your heavy users. Uh, we also probably, by the nature of our association, we have kept tried it, but otherwise we, despite being primarily a UX studio, we have also kind of built our own separate AI lab where we have a couple of ML engineers who are working closely with a couple of UX designers just to experiment. We made our UX designer sit with the ML engineer to solve the problem around Indic language. What we did is that we knew what output we want for the user. The UX person is naturally placed to know the user expectations. They are trained to do the research activities continuously, represent the user's interest in the product. But what other thing that we experienced, which was very interesting, is the UX person was able to collaborate at the technical level, where they were also uh, and they were also able to help write better prompts in collaboration with the ML engineer, and it somehow reduced the number of iterations that were going into the R&D to cross check if this is working or not. To this is But if this is working or not, for that also you have to go through so many sub iterations. Let's try this, let's try that, let's try that, and then see the output, match it, evaluate it, and so that's where we realize that there is actually some use cases within AI product building in the tech where UX persons can also be natural ally without the need for any other intermediaries.
Yeah, definitely. So actually, yeah, that's one part of why we are trying to make our UX as friendly as possible, because we've noticed that even if it's developers that's going to use our product to integrate it at the end, as it's an API that you want to request, the business people and the product people mainly are better suited to uh, work on the output of the integration at the end. So as you said, working on the prompts, integrating the business logic, the product logic into it. EDNA is actually meant for developers to be used and integrate AI at the end, but the workflow and the live testing is so easy that usually our developers share the workflows with their product people or their business people. Mainly it's product usually, for them to recheck the prompt and give feedback about it, to simplify the output, or simplify the integration at the end, and make sure the AI is doing exactly what the product needs it to do. And yeah, that's something also that we've seen.
Have you come across any situation where a feedback by your user changed the course of your roadmap or the direction that you may have taken within the phase of the product development?
Yeah, so actually, we don't believe in static roadmaps. So we don't believe that in roadmaps that tell you what to do. Like we don't build a roadmap to tell us what to do for the next 6 months. We build it as a communication tool that we have with marketing, between the product and the developers, and between with all the team, to say, hey, this is what we are planning to do. But then, yeah, when we talk to users, we always update priorities, etc. So we did happen for users to suggest things that were coming way later in the roadmap, that will have been moved way more urgently to into the roadmap. So one example was the AI detection models and AI detection tools. A lot of our users use some of our users use Eden AI to create content for marketing, for things like that. And Some of them need to rework the prompt and rework the output to make sure it's not too much AI like. So a lot of users were seeing AI detection tools being uh, promoted in the market and asked them to add it. So yeah, we weren't planning to add that uh, soon, but we had to create it and implement it for our users. So that was one of the last things I have in mind. Stories about that.
Also, there is this thing about roadmap, right? You talked about that right now. Your product is on a self-serving model where people can sign up and then they can start using the product and hope. And if they like it, they can upgrade and they can pay for things. With this self-serving model, you would be having so many, non-paying users versus paying users. Uh, do the paying users affect your roadmap because they get the priority?
Not really. We don't think about it as paying or not paying users. We think about it more like, yeah, we think about it more like what is the problem they are trying to solve, and is this problem affecting a lot of people or not? So the feedback we gather in the platform comes from everyone. And yeah, we had a lot of ideas come from non-paid users and some of them coming from paid users. We do want our paid users that really build some big around it in AI to have their platform up and running all the time. So that's very important for us to give them a lot of attention on the stability side. But for new ideas and new propositions, we actually listen to everyone because, yeah, as I said, great ideas can come from anywhere.
No, I think the other day I was talking to another SaaS product founder, and also a lot of the viewers that who will be watching this podcast would be, those who are product leaders and probably from the SaaS domain. Uh, Now, the insight was that if your product has self-serving growth model versus sales led, then the nature of the product operations are very different. With the product led growth, you have greater control over how you want to grow your product and your overall roadmap, although it can be dynamic, but still the control is the part here. However, if your product is if your product's growth is driven by your sales team, and also if you are playing the enterprise, if you're trying to attract enterprise clients to your product, then your roadmap hits gets a massive hit, because the sales team is inevitably going to come and say, hey, this is a very good opportunity, but we need to, the prospect is demanding a couple of features in demo. If we can show that proof of concept, then they are in, right? And all of a sudden the product manager, in this case probably you, would be like, okay, I had this plan, I don't know if I agree, but then there is money, how do I go about it? And it creates a lot of chaos eventually.
Yeah, yeah, and that can cause a lot of bad decisions. Especially when the money is a lot, then you can make bad decision based on that and change your roadmap for one client and regret that. Yeah, we kind of had this a little bit this experience at beginning. We did the exchange a lot with some big clients that were very demanding, and we had to make a decision and we had to say no to a lot of changes. We didn't want to deal too much with that conflict, so that's why we chose to actually build the product for bigger community and make it self-serve.
We touched upon the aspect of building trust, especially because you're dealing with a lot of AI based outputs. I want you to go a little more in depth about, how do you ensure that there is this inherent trust that you earn from the user. How do you then handle the stability issues that come inherently with the AI products?
Thing is that, yeah, we AI was being used in the beginning with some explainability expectations from the users and from the business people. They wanted to understand what AI was doing and why it was doing it. But in the last years, we have been building bigger and bigger models, like the language models, large language models, for example. So the explainability becomes way more harder as the model gets bigger. So understanding why the model outputted something by going inside it and checking the neurons and things like that becomes more and more hard. So now the focus is more on observability and seeing how the model is behaving in production. That's why we are focusing on that in our current step. So we're trying to make it as clear as possible to our users to understand what the model is saying to their users. For example, if it's Gen AI model that generates text, and if it's biased in its output, and making it as clear as possible from week to week how the model behaved, if it shifted or not. And so, yeah, I think observability now is more crucial than explainability. And yeah, that's what we're trying to empower our users with.
What are the methods that you use to really be good at the observational part of it? Like, are you now focusing more on finding more evaluation methods, or is it more about just monitoring the real time output at the production level?
So we actually work with some partners, like with AI models. We are not building our own observability tools because there are hundreds, literally, of startups doing that right now. Each company or each startup has its own way of calculating that. So we're trying to find the best way to aggregate all these methods. So it's going to be mainly checking the output of the model and how it changes from time to time, from week to week, and also checking the interaction of the users with the model. If it's a generative model, for example, or it's a bot or it's a RAG, automated chat bot, something like that, you want to see how many times the same question is being asked to the user, to the bot. See if it's not in writing, or it's not giving the expected output. And you want to see the vocabulary that's being used by the bot and the vocabulary that's being used by the user, to see if the user is angry at your bot or not, and how the feeling of the users when using your AI is evolving.
Okay, that's interesting. While we're on the subject, can you also quickly list your favorite models, or if not favorite, if you don't want to take side, but generally what you think, what you consider are really performing really well across all the major use cases, be it from text to text, or being speech to text, or just image or video, across the categories.
I might get into trouble for choosing one, but I try to list a couple of them in order not to be too much biased, I'd say. So I think Google is doing actually pretty good with their generative AI models, especially the chat one. Then Gemini is surprisingly good. Uh, the latest version. And I think they are going to announce a new one in December. So Gemini 2 should come out in a couple of weeks. And yeah, I do like that. But I also like Anthropic as a lot of developers because it's way better. Uh, their models are way better at code editing and understanding. Like if you compare it to GPT, for example, and I need to give a lot of credits to Amazon for their video analysis. They have some very good video analysis models. Most of our users that do video analysis go to them. And for speech, uh, I think it's mainly 11 labs, like speech to text, like understanding speech, or speech synthesis, making a robot talk. I think 11 Lab is doing a great job at that. So if I have to list a few companies, I would say that.
Right. I think those who are watching this particular section of the podcast, they would have a lot to chew on.
But yeah,
Well,
the thing with AI is that it's really different. The output is really different depending on the input. So each AI is trained differently. So maybe for your use cases, another AI would work, or another model would work better than for my use cases, because maybe your use cases are closer to the training data that has been used for model A, and my use cases are closer to the data that had trained the model B. So that's why we would prefer different models. So that's why Eden exists, basically.
yeah, that actually I forgot to cover that part, and that's also something which really excites me about Eden AI is that is not just that you are selecting a model, but you also get to understand what is your use case, and then it suggests which are the better trained model for this use case. Do you want to talk about that, not just in the context of Eden AI, but also little zoomed out version as well?
Yeah, so in the continuation of the journey of simplifying AI for our developers or product makers in general, product builders. So as I said, we started by giving our users the mathematical matrix to compare different models, and then we moved to a visual comparison, which was way better. And now we still feel that our users still don't like choosing a model, and users are pushing us more and more into giving them our recommendation for their use case. So we are building a recommendation system that for each input you give, we'll select on the fly the best model to handle it. Like if you're using like text generation, if you give it two different topics, maybe for the first one it will select Gemini, and for the second one it will select GPT-4 or something like that, so that you don't need at all to worry about the models. And if any new model comes in, then it will be selected if it suits your use case. So we get that model choice out of your mind, and we focus on that to give you the best and the cheapest solution that solves your problem, because that's important also.
Right, but then you have taken up a really big responsibility here. You have to constantly communicate the confidence level
Yeah,
in what you recommend, isn't it? How do you do that?
yeah, we are very transparent, so that's something you can choose. If you prefer to trust your choice or your own model, you can do it. But if you let us choose, then we are very transparent, and we give you in the monitoring what models are chosen for your use case, and you can see how it fluctuates. And we try to give it as much information as why we are choosing this model against the other. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of responsibility that we're trying to take.
Right, and then probably you mentioned in your previous answer that you also have to suggest the cheapest model or the cost effective one. How does and of course it is like, different models have different limits in terms of the tokens, but still there is a limit, and then they want your money anyway. So how does your pricing strategy get affected by this, by the prices of different models that you dynamically suggest to your users? And if I may also attach one more question with that is, other than the pricing strategy of yours, is the market moving towards, now traditionally it has been like, monthly subscription or paper something, but now is it moving towards the results or the number of successfully executed tasks that you will get paid for?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because now people, like I think hundreds of millions, I think, of developers have already used OpenAI. People are more and more aware of the cost of AI, and it being a per use kind of cost. So we've seen a lot of platforms making users pay for their usage since OpenAI, and that's how we actually work. We charge you a monthly license to use the platform, but then all your usage is billed. All your usage is billed at the same in the same way that it would be being billed, as the same way as the providers will bill you the same usage. Yeah. So exactly. So if you I don't know, if you perform 10 API calls through Eden AI to OpenAI, you would pay the same thing as if you have made the exact same 10 API calls to OpenAI exactly. So you have the license fee, but then you have to charge your account with credits to use the different models, and we don't top of that usage. So that's why we have the objective of reducing the bills for you. So trying to make it as cheap as possible for your use case to run in production, because yeah, we don't get money out of that part. So we are on your side on that part.
And what's the general take, being in thick of the situations there? Uh, what's your take on this chatter about, monthly subscription models reducing or losing its steam, and then more and more people are offering, pay per result or result as a service, from software as a service to result as a service. What's your take on that?
Problem is moving forward from the AI provider or the model provider to the platform you'll use to consume that, to your platform and maybe to your user at the end. So um, the problem is that at some point someone will have to take the risk and pay a license to their end users. I don't know if the end users will also be okay with this kind of billing. So I don't know if you're creating, let's say, HR software meant for HR, head of HR, for example. Will you be able to sell him usage based or not? That's, I don't know, that's a tricky question. Uh, if not, then how can you transform uh, your usage based consumption of AI to a license? For now, we chose not to do it on our side and let our clients decide if they want to charge their clients per usage or per license. But yeah, it's actually a tricky question that I was still thinking about.
Right, right. Makes sense. Makes sense. Also, I think since you have like, how long has it been since you launched your
I
product?
think it's been 4 years now, three and a half, 4 years. So I actually started
Three and a half
before
years, right now.
OpenAI, as I said. So it's 2021, if I remember correctly.
And in terms of the growth of the users, how did you experience
Yeah,
that
for the
scale?
very beginning, it was pretty linear, but since OpenAI, it got exponential. Sorry, and now it's still going up very quickly because uh, we have a lot of users that are moving from OpenAI, for example, to other providers, and they don't want to stick to one provider. So instead of moving from OpenAI to Gemini, they actually move from OpenAI to EdenAI to have access to all the models. At the beginning, not a lot of people were using AI. Then a lot of people got interested in AI, and now that people understand how to use it, they really want a platform that allows them to not be locked into one provider.
Right. So with this recent surge in the usage and in terms of the speed at which your user base is growing, does it create any additional technical debt? Because then there is a lot of aspiration that gets attached with the faster growth rate, and then you are likely to make more decisions, faster decisions, and has something of that sort happened where it has left you with some sort of unexpected technical debt?
Since the beginning, we wanted the platform to be as robust as possible, so we didn't have a lot of robustness problem. Uh, the the overwhelming number of the overwhelming number of feedback that we get is the main challenge that we need to handle, because AI is moving very fast and everyone wants to try out everything at the same time. So the main challenge we have is to actually select the best model or the most important models or most important uh, tools in the AI stack to implement uh, for our users so that they don't have to implement it themselves. So that's the main challenge we are facing right now, is that the fact of having a lot of attraction to the platform, we do have a lot of requests for a lot of different things, and trying to balance that and understand which request needs more attention than the others is the main challenge that we are currently have.
Now that we are, seeing so much interest from so many different types of industries and actors who are looking to build something, and there is this fear of missing out that is at play. Of course, there are so many founders, especially technical founders, who are looking to build something quickly. What would be your advice to them as they enter this domain?
The first, I think, advice is to understand what your clients want. Don't do AI for AI's sake, but do it for your users' sake, and try to automate as many things as possible, because that's the main job of AI. It's not to replace people. It's not to. It's just to automate uh, tasks uh, for you and for your customers to gain more time and get more value as fast as possible. So I think understanding what AI is and what it is for is important. So any recurrent task that you might think about uh, that can be automated will be automated at some point. So just
Right.
yeah, think about how much time you want to gain and in which aspect, and try to prioritize that and start automating as fast as possible.
And in terms of the next wave of AI advancements, what do you see coming at us?
I think we are doing very well with the Gen AI and with any text analysis AI. So it is very performant now, and any text-based document can be handled with the LLMs, for example, and or other specialized models. A lot of people are talking about agents now. Agents need reasoning, and if we want to have fully automated agents, uh, we still need for reasoning to be fully handled. And there is a lot of debate on that, whether LLMs can reason, whether the Gen AI models can reason. And a lot of people are arguing against that, explaining that LLMs are matching input with some patterns to produce some output. So I think the next wave will be actually unlocking reasoning, because I really don't think it's something that has been unlocked yet. So that's why I also advise people not to fully automate their work with one agent that will handle everything itself, but leverage different AI tools, still build the logic yourself, understand what you want to do, and put AI in the right place. Uh, and not just OpenAI GPT model to handle everything with one prompt. So I think we are still far, not very far, but a little far from that. And yeah, the next big advancement will be the reasoning models. Yeah, but we still need to see if it's going to be any LLM like models or ChatGPT like model that will be able to reason, or if it's going to be some other type of models. I don't know if it answers your question.
Yeah, it's not an easy question to answer anyway. So,
I did my best.
but what current assumptions do you think will be challenged in the next 6 to 12 months? It's difficult to look beyond that horizon.
Yeah, I really think that it's not like a new type of models or new type of AI that will make the difference. It's just understanding how to use these models that's going to make a difference. Uh, Good. The best advice I could give to people is understand AI models and how to use them instead of just trying to look for the best AI to use. Like really understand what each model does best, and try to orchestrate them by yourself to solve your problem instead of focusing on one single model that handles everything for you or one single agent that does all the automations for you. So yeah, I really think in the next couple of months, the focus will be shifted into the applications and how we build with AI instead of just waiting for the next model to come. Yeah, so that's how I answer the question.
Let me ask you the last question. That is a question that is more. This question is mainly out of my personal interest, and that is your advice to the designers, particularly the designers who are into the domain of helping improving the user experience. So, what is your advice to the UX designers out there?
I think my advice will be to not hesitate to ask a Gen AI model for for ideas. Like ideation is something that can be explored with the help of generative AI, and I've seen a lot of designers blocked with some tasks like I don't know how I should show this or display this or how I should take the user from this place to that place. And the current behavior is just to check on dribble and some different ideas and try to and get inspired from that. I think one important source of inspiration is Gen AI, and just talking to a generative model uh, or an assistant can help a lot, uh, and unlocking some new ideas for designers. I've seen that happen. I really think that's something that should be done more frequently.
Great advice. So yeah, Sammy, here this is basically I have kind of run out of my questions. Do you think that I did not ask you something that I should have talked asked you or you should have talked
No,
about?
I think you've been perfect, Jet.
Thank you. So thank you once again for this for giving us your time on this podcast. I hope you enjoyed
Yeah,
yourself with
thank you
us.
very much. Thank you for having me.